Hello everyone, this is Ellis Owens. You guys know me as Clark Kent 434. And today I'm bringing the next weapon guide video. So, we're going back to LMGs. And I kind of debated on this one for a little while. And it was kind of a struggle. Because I was debating whether to separate this one into two different reviews or do it in one. And after reviewing the numbers, I said, let's just do it in one, because sometimes I don't think it's necessary to have individual reviews if the weapons statistically are basically the same. It would be like me repeating myself over and over just to make another video, and I think it would be a waste of your time and my time, and I'd rather be more efficient. So I'm just going to go ahead and just do that. So what the guns we're going to be featuring today is the RPK series, the 74M and the RPK-12. And as you know, 74M was returned from China Rising, and the 12 was already in the game originally. So they do have some differences, but for the most part, they have a lot of similarities. So starting off with the RPK-74M, the max damage is 25, minimum damage is 18, drop off starts at 8 meters and ends at 65, fire rate is 600 rounds per minute, muzzle velocities is 600 meters per second, suppressed is 320 meters per second, bullet drop off is 15 meters per second squared, magazine size is 46. Excuse me. Reload empty is 4.5 seconds, and bullets left in the chamber is 3.6. Your recoil upward is a 2.8, to the left is a 2.5, and to the right is a 0.2. Now, your first shot multiplier, which applies to you when you burst the weapon, or is a 0.75. Your spread increase as you fire the weapon is a 0.07. Your ADS is a 0.2. ADS while moving is a 2. And your hip fire is a 4.5. So that is the stats for the RPK-74. So let's look at the 12 real quick. And the max damage is 25. The minimum damage is 18. Drop off starts off for the damage at 8 meters, ends at 65. Fire rate also is at 600 rounds per minute. Muzzle velocity is 580 meters per second. Suppressed is 320 meters a second. Bullet drop off is 15 meters per second squared. Magazine size is 61. Reload empty is 3.5. Bullets left in the chamber is a 2.4. Recoil upward is a 0.3, to the left is a 0.15, to the right is a 0.1. Your first shot multiplier is a 1.6. Your spread increase is a 0.078. The ADS not moving is a 0.2, and ADS moving is a 2. Your hip fire spread is a 4.5. So now after we look at the stats, you're saying, okay, there is a lot of similarities. So what are big differences? Well, really, there's only going to be a few key differences. The first one is going to be the muzzle velocity. Obviously, the RPK-74 has a 20 meters per second increase in muzzle velocity. That is a slight increase, but not a huge increase. Also, the RPK-74 has a larger maximum distance. The 12 has 870 meters maximum distance, and the other one has 900. Now that's a pretty far range out, and being quite honest, because most weapons don't have at least a 6x zoom or higher, it's going to be quite hard to hit targets that far out. So that's something to be noted, that probably that range is not really, even though it's a big difference, it's going to be hard to hit targets out beyond that far distance. Some of the other differences is the reload speeds. Obviously, the RPK-12 bullets left in chamber has a 2.4, While on the other hand, the RPK-74 has a 3.6. The RPK-12 beats it almost more than by a second. It's a second faster, the RPK-12 than the 74. Reason why? It just is. Obviously, the RPKs are based on the AK variants. You know, the 74 is second gen, the 12 is supposed to be third gen. So, you know, maybe because it's newer gen, it's faster. I'm not sure why Dice did it that way, but they did. Bullets empty obviously is a 4.5 for the 74, but while the 12 has the 3.5, that's pretty big. That's still a whole second faster for the 12. Literally, the empty reload for the RPK-12 is faster than the RPK-12 with bullets left in the chamber. Any way you look at it, the RPK-12 is faster in reloads with bullets left in the chamber or bullets not totally empty. It's just faster, period, than the 74. It just beats them both ways. I mean, yeah. So it's a win-win. Magazine size, it's still a win. The 12 has 15 more rounds than the 74. So in my testing, those 15 rounds I found to be quite crucial. I would never thought 15 rounds would be a big deal, but 15 rounds I actually would get sometimes 2 or even 3 more kills. Literally in situations where the whole squad was spawning on one person, I would actually gun myself out of it. When the 74, I would literally I would be running out of ammo and I'd have to switch to my pistol to finish everyone off, and then I'd be sitting there. And it's because the 74 has that slow reload when you're fully empty of 4.5. It is just horrible. I mean, that reload is almost up there with some of the, it's starting to compete with some of the belt-fed magazines. It's just one of the worst. It's one of the worst magazine-fed reloads of all the guns in the whole game, period. You know, the RPK-12 with the 2.4, I mean, that's not the worst, but it's quite good. Another thing to point out is the recoils. Now, the recoils are very interesting. The 74 focuses more on left to right recoil and less upward, while the 12 focuses a little bit higher upward and less left to right. Now, characteristically, if you have more left to right recoil, it makes it harder to compensate for a weapon. And something I mentioned in my MTAR video. It's very hard to compensate for left to right recoil because you don't know which way the weapon's going to go. So typically guns that have more upward recoil is easier to compensate than guns that have more side to side recoil. So even though the 74 has more side to side and less upward, the 12 is going to be more controllable, meaning that in the long run it's going to be more accurate. Now, the 74 does have a lower first shot multiplier, so I mean it would probably be more efficient bursting. So it would be better to burst fire the 74 than the 12. The only one other thing to note is the bullet spread increase per shot. Now, even though they're practically the same, it's a 0.07 for the 74 and a 0.078 for the 12. They are basically the same. The 12 gets a slightly higher, and which is, I'm not sure why, but it is. They're basically the same recoil, the spread patterns. What I've seen from spread pattern charts, they're basically the same, so that really doesn't matter. The aim down sights and the hip accuracy are also the same. So, which one is a better gun, you're probably asking? Well, if you look at everything, obviously the RPK-12 beats reload and magazine size. Also, the recoil is more controllable. So right there, it's so far the RPK-12 is winning. The only downside would be probably the first shot multiplier. I mean, it might be a little bit hard to control while bursting, but you know, putting an angle grip or a folding grip would control that. The spread increase is such a small number, it's in the thousands, and they're already a pretty low spread, you couldn't really tell a difference. One thing that some people might be worried is about the range. The range is probably not a big deal. You're looking at around 900 meters. That's a very far distance. The muzzle velocity, even though the 74 is slightly higher than the 12, I calculated the numbers and I found out the 74 does kill a tad bit faster. And you're like, oh, well, then I definitely got to go with the 74. But hang on. Even though it's a tad bit faster, it's only 0.001. That's 1,000th of a second faster, and that is beyond 40 meters. That's right, beyond 40 meters. So, and that's compared just to the 12, and it only retains that 1,000th of a second faster. In all actuality, using both weapons, you can't tell a difference. So the only time you're going to see that advantage is if you play LAN. And guess what? None of us are playing LAN in a pro tournament. We're all playing on servers over the internet. So guess what? Forget about that advantage. So go ahead and get that out of your mind. There isn't really a speed difference, because that 1,000th of a second advantage is not enough, because DICE servers don't have the greatest netcode. And if your internet lags for a second, yeah. And remember, that's advantage is only over the RPK-12. There's a lot faster firing weapons than the RPKs. They're at 600 meters. So, honestly, the kill times are basically the same. And granted that the 74 has a slight advantage, but that would only be if you're on LAN, and we don't play LAN. Because we're not playing on professionally. So, the 12 wins on magazine, it wins on reload, it wins on more controllability. So the 12 is a better gun overall, but because of the slow rate of fire, and the slow rate of fire, the 600 meters is probably where it hurts the 74 and the 12. You'll find yourself quite often being outkilled. So many times when I was playing, I got shot down and outkilled. It was just ridiculous and frustrating. I don't know how many times I did this. My best tip is to 1, run a silencer, or 2, go for the headshots. Because these weapons have such low recoil and it does have such great accuracy, their aim down sights is a 0.2, which is on par with assault rifles. Headshots are easy to get with this one. You just aim for the neck and the slight recoil will just push it right to the head. It's one of the best things about the RPK-12 and 74. Now, after looking at this, definitely the 12 outbeats the 74. But if you like to burst a little bit more, you like to be, tap that trigger and like to burst, maybe the 74 would be better for you. I still struggle why DICE brought back the 74. Maybe it was the nostalgia of it being in Battlefield 3, but the 12 beats it in a lot of areas. Reload, magazine size, recoil. So I'd rather see them bring something like the L86, which is a variant of the L85. Since the new L85 is at 800 rounds, it'd been awesome if they brought the L86 at 800 rounds, because we would actually have a magazine-fed 800 round LMG instead of a belt-fed 800 round LMG like the 249 or MG4. But that's my comparison. So you can go up there and try them out. Be honest, you'll notice that they both have basically the same results, but the 12 will probably prove to be better, especially with those reloads. For most players, because the reloads are such a big difference, and obviously the rate of fire, which is probably one of the biggest handicaps. So that's basically it, guys, and that's a summary of the 2 weapons. I hope you guys really enjoyed this weapons review, and I'm going to be having some more. And if you guys really enjoyed this, put a like and maybe even a comment and tell me what you think about this. And favorite would be appreciated if you give me a thumbs up. And if you're new, subscribe to my channel. And have a good day.